Morning everyone, 5 watching, Big John here. I'm in South Chadderton, Lancaster Street, and I'm headed to Yew Tree School. So I'm in South Chadderton. Please share to any Oldham groups. South Chadderton News Group, Failsworth Morn, any Failsworth groups, anybody, just share it to them. If you know anyone in Oldham, share it in Oldham. I'm going to call out the hypocrisy of Labour in Manchester. I'm going to call out the hypocrisy of how they work and what they believe in. You just really, this is proper on the street stuff. You don't get this off anyone else, but you will get it off me. You will get it off me. Everything I've said about this school I can factually back up everything. Why should I be down here at Yew Tree School in South Chadderton? Why? My granny Shania, who a lot of you have seen with me over the past few years, my granny, who I taught to swim, who I supported, came down to this school supporting her on open day, where the kids are showing off all the skills and stuff like that to the parents. I can tell you that I supported Yew Tree School team when they went water polo at Oldham. I used to finish early, get down to town, buy a bag full of treats, go supporting the kids, egg them on, congratulating them, all that. And then afterwards, a bit of cake or chocolate or whatever for the children, because they've been swimming, I've been jumping around, they lose a bit of energy. Everyone will know this if you go swimming. You know what it's like when you finish swimming. You feel hungry, you've used up energy, you need to eat stuff. Yeah. We'll get round to the roads in a minute, Catapult. Honestly, we'll get round to them. Yes, Chris. Thank you, mate. Thank you. So yeah, I know Yew Tree School. I know Yew Tree School well. I've met the teachers there. Mr. Lewis was one of our Shania's favourites at the school. I met Mr. Lewis. I also participated in kids' sports day, egging them on and stuff like that. When I went to swimming baths, remember, I'm not an ignorant savage. When I went to swimming baths, Yew Tree School has a lot of different kids from different ethnicities, and some of them can't eat meat or can't eat certain products, gelatine and stuff like that. So when I got the sweets when I got the cakes and that from Oldham, I got non-gelatined cakes, knowing that there's kids at that school who won't eat gelatined cakes. That's how ignorant, savage Big John is. That's how bloody ignorant and horrible person Big John is. Mr. Lewis will tell you that if he's still at the school. Shania's 14 now, so talking 4 years ago. And for the last 2 years of her school life here, I participated wherever I could. I went egging on the local, the school sports team at water polo. A lot of Shania's friends knew me. We'd done things like on where she lives, over the road, over the park where she lives. We've done a lot of when it was bonfire night and stuff like that. We used to go around. She'd have all her friends round, set off some fireworks, sparklers. Halloween, me and Shania's uncle Steve, we blindfolded people, and then they had to dip into a tray to eat a crispy locust or cricket or something. So I'd done all these things with all the kids. When it was Shania's birthday, her dad ordered a 15-seater minibus, and we took all her friends down to somewhere in down Cheshire End, and it was a climbing thing where you're roped up and you have to go across tree things. Full coach, 15 of us, 15 kids going down there. Big John singing Christian, singing hymns and nursery rhymes to the kids all the way down there and all the way back. I believe myself to be a very good role model. I taught Sinead to swim, taught a lot of my kids, nephews and that to swim and stuff like that. And I've always participated in actions like that, especially with children. So a lot of Sinead's friends know me, their parents know who I am, people at the school know who I am. Now we know that Arooj Shah, the Labour leader, has been down here canvassing for votes. Fair enough. You can do that. Look, I'm going to put you down for standing outside a school talking to the parents. But what other kind of participation do you do? I actively get involved with the school. I actively get involved with the children. On the sports day, I joined in one of the teams of kids, and we had to score points on different things on the sports day. Bit of a slight climbing frame, then there was throwing balls into nets and stuff like that. Sinead's team was a mixed team. There was some Muslims on the team, white kids, a couple of black kids. Sinead's mixed race herself. I think the black kids were African origin, but there was a little Muslim girl there who had 2 left feet. Now, do you understand me when I say 2 left feet? Meaning she didn't have any hand-eye coordination. Right, that's what she was like, a robot-like thing. So I looked at the teacher who was all supervising our little run of what we were doing. What we were doing was throwing a ball into a basketball hoop that was low down, little kid size, not high up. And there must have been about 6 or 7 feet between the person throwing the line and the net. This little Asian girl with 2 left feet came up and she threw it and just far out. I just looked at the teacher, nodded, went over, assisted her by putting my hand under her hand, and we threw the ball together. And she got a point for the team. That girl got a point for the team because Big John encouraged her, helped her to score that point. And that's what I did on the sports day at Yew Tree School. I would say it would be about, in 2022, I would say about 2015, maybe 2016, I think. The local team at the school had come done well in the water polo championships that they had with other schools. And again, Big John went down to the swimming bath, supported the kids, cheered them on. I was the #1 cheerleader for that school. Me, Big John was #1 cheerleader for Yew Tree School around 2015. Big John. So Big John actively gets involved in things. And I've been like that all my life. A lot of my friends in Oldham will tell you that. My nephews will tell you that. When they were at school, my nephews are grown up now, but when they were at school, I took them down to an area called Salmon Fields in Oldham. Anyone who lives in Oldham will know Salmon Fields area. And we caught a newt. Now, there's 3 types of newt in Britain. A greater crested one and 2 other species. We didn't get the greater crested one, which is rare, but we did get one of the other species of newts. Then when the kids went to school on the Monday, the school had to sort of like, the school had to improvise a couple of days of showing the kids about animals and stuff like that, because none of them children had ever seen a newt in the wild. None of them kids had ever seen a newt in the wild. If you've not seen a frog, or if you've not seen a newt, or a fish, or a toad, or a whatever, and in the wild, or an hedgehog, you're not having a good life. You really are not having a good life, right? You're not having a good life. Big John brings you that life. Big John gets involved in that life. Big John will show you these things. This is Big John, active, outgoing, and I do care about my communities. Why else would I be supporting a school on the field day? Why else would this nasty right-wing racist person be helping the little girl who's Asian, who's got 2 left feet to score a goal for her team? Yeah, no one else does that. I don't see the Labour leader getting actively involved in local schools and stuff like that. I would been dying to come down to you tree because that is fact. That is fact. Shania will tell you that. Her dad will tell you that. Her friends will tell you that. Their parents will tell you that. Mr. Lewis will tell you that. The deputy headmistress will tell you that. These are all the people I met when I was helping and actively involved in Shania's schooling. Right? Now, Mr. Lewis, always one of our Shania's favourites. And the first time I came down after swimming, I only brought treats for the kids. It weren't the teachers weren't in swimming. The teachers weren't the ones who were hungry. The teachers weren't the ones who were tired. The kids were. So I brought treats down for the kids. I didn't bring any for the adults. I didn't. Now, a week later, Shania's come up to me and politely asked me that when I come supporting him again at water polo, will I bring down some treats for Mr. Lewis? So what did John do? John brought some treats down for Mr. Lewis. So that's John Lawrence. That's why you should vote for me and not the people who lead the council now. We're not bothered about anything. If we look at Arooj Shah's leaflets, they're nothing to do with Oldham. All they keep going on about is the Conservatives. The Conservatives don't run Oldham. The Conservatives don't run Manchester. Labour are in power up here. So stop throwing the blame at other people and sort the scene out yourselves. That's why I should vote for Big John. I don't care about things that are going on 1,000 miles away. I want to care about our Oldham. Arooj Shah's only cared about Palestine, Kashmir. That's all she's bothered about, and the things outside of this country. Does she care about the local community? I don't think so. I don't think so personally. And I guess a lot of other people will feel like that. So why vote for someone who don't care for your community? Why vote for someone who don't help out the kids in the community? Why vote for someone who's going on about things that are thousands of miles away, not here? Not here. Right? Why? Why is it like that? Why is it like that? Shouldn't we be caring about our community? Another thing about Oldham. Housing with high immigration levels. There's no housing. Look at these houses that don't have any fronts. Some of them have backs. There's no room for parking on all these streets going down here. And nowadays, now we'll walk down towards the school. Big John's on it today, I tell you, on it today. If you want to come on, talk about anything I've said today on this stream, please do. I've got an email there. You can email me. We'll sort something. I'll even speak to people on phone. If you're from Chadderton, don't be looking at voting for Labour. Don't be looking at voting for Labour. Don't. You should be looking for voting to someone else who cares really about your community. Can I just tell you how Arooj Shah got in here? Arooj Shah got in this ward after people of her own community did a campaign of hate against her because she stood up as a woman to run as a councillor. Fact. If you don't believe me, there's a video of Oldham Council meeting with Arooj Shah saying that. And they moved her to Chadderton, which is predominantly white. And then all you whiteys voted her in. And she's not gonna help your communities. She's not. Nowadays, my party's a National Housing Party. These houses are no good. They're no good for the families that we have coming here. They're no good. They're no good for the average Muslim family, these houses. They're not. They're too small. There's no parking. You can look at generally a family now that's got 2 or 3 adults in will have at least 2 cars. Where did they park? Where did they park? The school's coming down here, and look at the state of the parking all over the place. How are you supposed to get your kids down here in prams and stuff like that? I think during the week you can't park some places around here, but we're coming up to Alcester Street now. The school, Chadderton cricket and bowling club there. Been there a few times. Look, there's cars on pavement here right outside schools. I think maybe during the week you can't have these cars here, but look at these houses here. There must be at least 2 cars per household. There's nowhere for them to go. We have big families coming into the UK now. Where are they going to go? Where are these Ukrainians going to go? Where are these Ukrainians? They're asking you to put them up in their houses. That's what they're asking you to do. Now, all right, you might be able to put 2 Ukrainians up. You know, where? There's no room in any of these houses. Even if you have a spare room, there's no room. Nobody, I tell you right now, nobody should think that they have to give up their room. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. If I had a massive house and I did have room, I might help somebody out, but I'm against any kind of immigration anyway. So it would never work. But, you know, people haven't got it. Fuel prices, they're bringing in this CAS tax now. So if you've got 3 cars in an household, you're going to have to get rid of one of them cars. You're going to have to get rid of one of them cars because you can't afford it because of that CAS tax rubbish coming in. So if you're a large family, you've got 3 cars, you're going to have to look at getting rid of your cars now. You're going to have to look at changing them so that you can get away with this clean air zone thing. It's just not going to work. Honestly, Oldham County, signal up a bit there. Sorry about that, guys. So, Big John actively participates with local schools. I'm not from South Chadderton, but Shania is, and I actively participated in her last 2 years at this school. All sorts of things. I've just told you what I did, and that's Big John. Big John cares about his community, cares about our schools in Oldham, which are not really that well, tell you the truth. I've showed you that the schools in Oldham don't even teach the kids English properly. I've told you that. I'm going to be talking about this on Friday on Amigo News channel. So tune in. I'm going to be talking about this on Friday. Transit custom there. I bet that doesn't pass the CAS tax. I bet that car does not pass the CAS tax. And it looks new, that van as well. Will he have to change it? He might pay 30 grand for that. So yeah, Big John here. I'm in South Chadderton and I'm firing. I'm firing on all cylinders. Please get this shirt to all Oldham groups, proud of all. Everyone in Oldham needs to hear this. The hypocrisy of the council. Look at Arooj Shah's leaflets and look at the last couple of meetings. All they've gone on about is pointing the finger at the Conservatives. I never got brought up, me, to point the blame to somebody else and not accept responsibility for the things that I'm supposed to control and run. I've never, you know what I mean? Honestly, you just couldn't make it up. That's why I vote for John. That's why you should vote for me. Told you I've got skills. I've got good skills that I think would be decent in the council. I'm enthusiastic, hardworking. Nobody will shout louder than Big John. Nobody will. Nobody shouts louder than me. Nobody shouts louder than me. So that's Yew Tree School. Gorse Mill is over there. Yew Tree School, that's where we are. So remember, look at the leaflet, look at the Labour leaflets. All they go on about is Conservatives and things that are thousands of miles away, and they're not focusing on our roads in Oldham, the potholes like you seen earlier on. They're not bothered about that. Oldham doesn't have any money anyway. That's why we have one of the highest council taxes in the country. That's why the child family tax credit bill is £500 million a year. Again, one of the highest in the country. And all we do, all Oldham Labour Council do, is take out on everyone else. Don't forget, you market owners who had stalls, you still had to pay your rates, even though you're your shops weren't open. Just remember that. Just remember what kind of council does that? A skint Labour, shittily run council does that. That's what happens, honestly. But and I mean, I'm angry because you white people vote them in all the time. All the time you do. You vote them in and you don't look at the bigger picture. Where's occurring about where we live? Why aren't our housing sorted out? Why have we got a national housing problem? You know what I mean? You don't care. Fuming today, me. I know this school. I told you I met the teachers. I've been involved with the children, the parents, actively involved in school time and out of school time. What are you doing, Arooj Shah? Putting out leaflets blaming Conservatives for everything. Oh, honestly, take responsibility of your position. Take responsibility of your actions and the council's actions, because you're the leader. You're the leader, Arooj Shah, honestly. And figure of speech way I'm saying this, I'm not threatening anyone, but when I get in that council, I'm going to be steamrolling over everyone. I am. I'm going to be calling you out. Whenever I can, I'll be calling you out. If I ever get into that council, it's a nightmare, actually. It's a nightmare for the people who are in the council now. It's going to be a nightmare for the Conservatives, the Lib Dems, the Greens, Labour. Everyone is going to be a nightmare. And don't think them are the only people who I'm going to be steamrolling over. You independents better sort yourselves out as well. Stop fighting with each other and come together a bit. I'm praying that Failsworth will win the other 2 seats, Failsworth Independent Party, to give her a bigger push to breaking up our council and getting a more democratic thing out of the council, getting more engagement with the local people and stuff like that. It needs to happen. It needs to happen. And so I'm not threatening anyone, but Big John will be steamrolling. If I ever get into a position in the council, I'll be steamrolling. I won't be taking prisoners unless you're going to work with me, unless you're going to be nice, unless you're going to start listening to people who live in your area. Because you're not doing that now. You're not doing that right now. Why do you keep blaming the Conservatives? They don't run Oldham and they do not run Manchester. It's Labour who run this area. So stop blaming the Conservatives. I'm no fan of Boris Johnson. I'm no fan of the Conservatives. But this is school ground stuff that you're doing. School ground stuff that you're doing. You just need to like step up and face the facts that you're running our town into nothing. It's just unbelievable, the hypocrisy of our Labour council here in Oldham. You just couldn't make it up. You just couldn't make it up. It's Big Johnny here. I'm in South Chadderton, and I'm outside Chadderton Cricket and Bowling Club at the moment. I'm going to make a rollie in a minute. Have a smoke. I'll carry on streaming. But yeah, I mean, I'm in South Chadderton. I want people to talk to me. Got an email there. I'll talk to anybody. Don't matter who you are in Oldham, I will talk to you. If you're going to be calling me names, then don't expect much of a response. But if you engage with me, I will engage with you. I've shown that many times I can do. I'm not going to be threatening you. Not going to be screaming at you too much. I just want to talk to people. I want people to start banging their heads together. I'm showing you that the council is not fit to run Oldham. I don't know particular skills of everyone in the council, but you know, like, what's going on? Is it diversity that's pushed to get people in the council who can't do the jobs? Maybe. You know what I mean? Honestly, and I'm sorry I keep saying white people, but it's you lot who are voting these people in this area, right? In this area. If you're in Chadderton, please look at voting for someone else. We need to break up Labour's control of our town, and then we'll start getting better results in the years coming out, because it's going to be more democratic. It's going to be more democratic. If we break up. North East Sunderland council broke up. Other councils across the country are getting broke up. 1 minute, guys. Arlene, Trisha's going to phone you, and thanks for coming on. And I know you'll share it to all groups. Don't worry, Arlene. Yeah, 3/4 of my views today will come from you. So yeah, I'm in Oldham and I'm outside Yew Tree School. Told you I know the school well. My grandniece went here for the last 2 years of her school life. Here, actively participated in school time and out of school time with a lot of the children, her friends, other people. A lot of them have met me, would have met me. I've met the teachers and stuff like that. And this isn't something that I've done lately. This is me across my entire life in Oldham. This is what I've been like. My nephews, I told you my nephews, I go to a school on St Mary's. I took about a dozen of them to Salmon Fields in Oldham. We caught a newt. And none of them had ever seen a newt before. And it wasn't a rare one, but none of them had ever seen a newt before. And we had the time of our lives. And for the next 2 days at school, they had to sort of like improvise. And they was talking a lot about nature and stuff like that, because that's what the kids wanted to hear. Because Big John took them down to Salmon Fields and caught a newt. As a little tiny thing like that, we've still got. This is going back 15 maybe years more. We still got the net, the little wooden pole with a green net on that you can buy for a couple of quid. We still got the original net that we caught that newt with at our Trisha's house. So that's Big John. Big John cares about his schools, cares about his communities. He's not a nasty bigot or anything. Big John helped a little Muslim girl who had 2 left feet to score a point for our team in a sports day. And I congratulated her, made everyone else clap and stuff like that. That's Big John. He's not a nasty man. He's not a nasty, and I'm not an ignorant person either. I'm very much not an ignorant person. And many of my friends will say it. Many of my friends will say the kind of relationship I have with the kids, nephews, my godchildren, 3 godchildren, by the way. And that's John, action John. John's not one just to be on the computer all the time, although when we had a Mega Drive when we were younger, my nephews loved the weekends when they stay with me and play Mega Drive and football and things like that all weekend, or if we had to in the winter. But also they like the time spending with me, because I go out with them. I go out to the parks, Alexander Park, Eaton Park, all across Oldham, taking them down to Salmon Fields, all these little places we have around our beautiful town. John took his kids and took other children to learn about nature and stuff like that. I'm into all that. My sister will tell you. She says I'm an expert on astronomy, the stars and things like that. And what I did with Shania was we did an intensive sort of like a winter thing on astronomy. Looking at stars. We got a telescope, only a little baby telescope then. My dad upgraded it to a better one, and we did a lot of stargazing, working out orbits and things like that. And these are the kind of things that I like, that I've passed on information down to the next generation. Good, solid things, you know what I mean? Not any of this indoctrinated dribble they come out with these days. None of this flat earth rubbish or anything like that. Even to the point of doing experiments with the kids, and you can do that yourself. You can just go into your backyard and do about 50 million experiments with sticks and the sun and all that with your children and stuff, and learning proper things, not indoctrinating, not putting flashy LGBT things in, trying to think they're all different genders and all that. Actively, like, learning about the area where they live and the communities and stuff like that. Besides Oldham swimming baths, there's Royton swimming baths, Ashton swimming baths with the wave machine there. I actively participate in our next generation's upbringing, and I'm sorry, I'm exceptional at it. I'm better than a lot of other people. I'm better than some stinking parents. I'm sorry to say, not saying everyone, but I'm better than some parents at looking after children and developing them in, learning with them, teaching them things, teaching them good skills and all that lot. I was blessed on the fact that I was working before I left school. When I left school, I've travelled across this country at the age of 15 on the coach and train, just on my own. With maybe some of my younger sisters. We went to Bradford a lot. I'm very responsible when travelling and stuff like that. And that's me. And I do care about my town, and I do care about the Northwest, I do care about my country. But we have to do better than blaming other people for all our mistakes. It's Labour who've been in control of Oldham for nearly 40 years. It's Labour, under Labour, is why Oldham is now classed as one of the most destitute, politically correct, poorest towns in the United Kingdom. Labour, not the Conservatives, Labour. And until people learn to look at different things, look at how things go, you're never going to learn. I'm sorry. So I'm outside, I'm on Alcester Street, Yew Tree School. I know the school well. I met loads of the teachers when my grandniece come here for her last couple of years. So if you're going to challenge me to that or say anything, even if you're from South Chancecote, I'm not, please do. Please do. But I did actively participate in my grandniece's education and in and outside of school, which is much I can say about other people. I'm sorry. I have to be so blunt. I'll always be so blunt. And I have to blame it that's why people voted Arooj Shah in. I hope she loses a seat. If she loses a seat, then she has to step down as leader of the council. So it's important that she loses a seat. So, I mean, not everyone's going to agree with me who lives in South Chadderton. I'm just telling you the facts, me. I'm just telling you the facts. Remember, look at Labour's leaflets. All they do is blame the Conservatives. That's all they do is blame the Conservatives. There's no taking responsibility. And don't you learn in earlier on in life is to take responsibility for your actions? Don't you learn that? Well, right now, in this day and age, nobody has to be responsible for their actions. We see that with crime. We see that with crime and other things in our society now. No one has to take responsibility. Well, you have to. If I'm leader of the council, you've got to take responsibility for your actions. And if them actions are bad, then you're going to have to take the flak for it. Simple as. And if you can't take the flak for it, then you shouldn't even be on the council. Stop crying about everything that's nothing to do with Oldham. I'm sick of it, me. I'm absolutely sick of it. I was dying to get down here, me. Absolutely gagging to get down here past few weeks. Told you what Big John does. Told you how Big John interacts with the community at a base level with our children at their schools. There's nothing more important in this world, to me. The number one thing is our children and our generations coming up. There's nothing important. Our old people are important, of course they are. And we've learned from them people and we should look after them. But we've got to be careful with our next generation. If we don't teach them properly, then things are only going to get worse. So Big John here, I'm in South Chadderton. Lovely day. I've had a nice time already. I only tell you the facts and what's there. I'm telling you the facts about that school. I'm telling you the facts about how Labour only bothered about things that are going on thousands of miles away. Thousands of miles away. Why aren't they addressing the severe poverty we have in Oldham? Why aren't they addressing the housing crisis we have in Oldham properly by taking responsibility for their 40 years in power? Honestly, I tell you, I'll be steamrolling over that council, me, if I ever get in. I'll be steamrolling, and I mean, they must be feared of me already because I get nothing but trolled. And no one's ever come on and challenged me from Oldham. No one's ever challenged me to a debate or anything. You're just a load of spineless pussies in Oldham, I'm sorry to say. Spineless, all of you, honestly. Spineless. So, that's Big John for you. I just want to tell you how I think and the things I do in my community. And it's a few years ago, so I'm 50. I was 50 at the time when I'm doing this with my grandniece. I'm 50 at the time when I'm taking her swimming every weekend and teaching her to swim. When I first took her swimming, it was doggy paddle. And then, before she left that school, she was one of the members of the school water polo team. And then another one of my nephews ended up going on the swimming team, and he couldn't swim before I took him to swimming baths. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry. I'm here. Right, so Arlene, phone James, please. So yeah, I'm in South Chadderton, and I've just been round down there to Yew Tree School. I know very well. Another thing I did as well, when we did the sports day, Mr. Lewis challenged me to an hop, skip and jump. So if you'd have seen me, I was like Usain Bolt running round and all that lot. And then when it come, I did win, but I mean, I won't think it was entirely level because Mr. Lewis had a radio on and some other equipment on that he had to have because he's one of the teachers. And, you know, we didn't have any our trackies on and stuff like that. So it could have been a bit more equal, but I wiped him out. Let's just say I wiped him out. My grandniece will tell you that. I beat Mr. Lewis in the hop, skip and jump. And I did a lap of the sports ground, cheering with all kids cheering after me. Honestly, that's Big John. That's me to a T. That's me to an absolute T. I think a lot about our younger generation. Obviously, I want better things for our children. I want better development for our children. A lot of stuff like that. And I think that should be a priority in any town or anything. It's that we sort our schools out, start teaching our kids a bit better, start teaching them common sense things and stuff like that. I don't want our kids indoctrinated. I want them to learn and develop themselves, not with anyone pushing them in that direction. I want the kids to learn and develop themselves, which in the end will end up with them becoming a better adult. They'll have better social skills and stuff like that. You just don't see that with our generations now. You just really don't see that with some of the kids who are growing up. They don't have them social skills and stuff. But like I said, I was blessed, me. I was blessed because I come from a really good family. I was in a strong family. We've always stuck together and worked together and stuff like that through thick and thin, tragedies or whatever. We've done this. So I'm blessed. I know not everyone is blessed. That's why I want to support children as much as possible. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of kids who've been sexually abused for one reason or another, rape gangs, a church, homes abuse, whatever, and nobody cares for them. Nobody gives a shit about these people. Nobody's done nothing for them. If you want me to start on them rape gangs, I can tell you all the facts and figures. I can tell you where it's been hit worst. I can tell you how the authorities failed, absolutely failed our children completely. For whatever reason, they failed our children, and it shouldn't be happening. It really shouldn't be happening. And you know, schools, look at these fences around the schools now. Never used to be anything like this when I were at school, because we didn't have people hanging around out school trying to pick kids up who were adults and stuff like that. We never had that, but we do now. And our schools are like fortresses. Look at the size, look at them fences. You're not getting over there. And if you are with difficulty. So yeah, I'm in South Chadderton and I'm outside Yew Tree School. I'm gonna have to go in a minute. I've got a couple of calls to make. Got a couple of calls to make. But yeah, I'm at Yew Tree School, South Chadderton. Big John's telling you how it is. It's all right, Arooj. You can come up here and canvass outside the school. But why don't your leaflet say something about schools? Why don't your leaflet say something about developing Oldham schools? And how much do you interact with the schools? At 50 years old, John is still interacting with schools, children, as he has done all his life with all his other family members and stuff like that. I was in my 30s when my older nephews were going to school, and I were interacting with them in both places. Oh, have you done that, Arooj Shah? Can you tell me that, like, you care enough to interact with the kids? You know, the big nasty racist John is there helping a little Muslim girl who's got 2 left feet to score a point for our team so we can go further on. Even though she weren't the best member, she actually scored 2 points that day. One I helped to score and one she did herself on something else. So, and I encouraged everyone that it was a team effort, not one person. It was a team effort that we got there. Even though some of the people were less likely to score points, it was still a team effort. That's Big John. That's Big John. That's Big John. Obviously, I keep being branded what were the last thing someone branded? A shitbag, scumbag, right wing, whatever. Well, if you've done anything like this, or you can say that you actively involve yourself with local community schools and stuff like that, please let me know. My email is there, johnlawrence40@hotmail.co.uk. Get on it and message me. If you're from South Chadderton, look at my YouTube. Go and look at my YouTube. Got hundreds of videos. Get your look at my videos. I've done a lot about Oldham. There's all around Oldham, Ashton, Failsworth, Hollins. I haven't been up Lees as much, Lees and Groton, but I should go up there. Shaw, Royton. I've been to all these places telling you how it is. That's how Big John is. But thank you very much for listening to me going on this morning. If you want to know more, please tune in, like and subscribe to my YouTube. You can find me on Facebook, John Lawrence. I am on a host of other networks, but the links are on my YouTube channel. And so I just want to tell you some of the things I've done and why you should vote for me in local elections. Because Big John cares about his town, cares about his schools, cares about the next generations, cares about where we live. So that's why you should vote for Big John and look out for the NHP UK banner, which is our political party banner. Watch out for it. Look out for it. We're all about the UK, United Kingdom. We want the best for our country. We want to end permanent settlement and no more refugees, asylum seekers or anything, not even from Ukraine. Big John don't pick on one colour. Big John's telling you it's everybody in the entire world who don't want coming here, whether you're white, pink, black, brown, yellow, purple, rainbow coloured. We should end permanent settlement. I don't hate you. I've just given you a million reasons why we shouldn't have anybody here. We can start off with the housing grid. We can go on to our culture and stuff like that, our history, which is being forcibly erased all the time, and a lot of the times it's by people who have no affinity to the UK. We're doing this and we're just letting them. We don't want that. We don't want that. Big John don't want any kind of faith school, legal or illegal. The only kind of faith school you're going to get is going to be a Christian school in your time. That's it. No more mosque building. And if you're going to attack our history, I'm going to bring this up on Friday. Treason. I don't mean chopping anyone's heads off. I mean, we're going to bring treason back. If you attack our statues or our history, you're going to get in trouble. If you try to burn our flags and our poppies, you're going to get in trouble. Anything like that is going to get in trouble. And that would mean a lot of the Black Lives Matter lot would have been locked up because they're all anti-UK, them. They're all anti-UK. And they would have all been locked up. But that's something that I would like to be able to do if I was Prime Minister or had any power in the country. Sorry if you feel it. Sorry if you feel offended or anything like that. But this is a UK. It's not Somalia. It's not Romania. It's not Ukraine. It's not Russia. It's not Poland. It's the United Kingdom. And there is an ethnicity of people who've lived here for thousands of years. And that's how it is. And if you don't want to take in that you live in the UK and you're not willing to integrate here, I pointed this out the other day. We had Ukrainian communities here, but we don't have them no more. Why? Because they integrated. That's why there is no Ukrainian streets or big areas with Ukrainians in, because they integrated. Big massive thing in Oldham, that's one of the things, lack of integration, that's been blamed, that the riots have blamed on, trouble have been blamed on, child sex exploitation, a whole host of things have been blamed on that lack of integration. And this is before Big John were here. This is more than 20 years ago. This was in the papers about no integration. The same thing's going on now. And it's not the Conservatives have failed in loads. I agree. I don't like the Conservatives. I don't like Boris Johnson. But it's not entirely their fault, unfortunately. Labour have a big part to do in this as well. Or should I say the Communists, the left, or whatever you want to call yourselves. My email's there. If you want to challenge me, if you want to break down anything I've said, if you want to go against anything I've said, email me. john.lawrence40@hotmail.co.uk. I'm still waiting for an email of someone. Although I do have a lister's phone number, and I've talked to him a couple of times on phones. He gets respect for that, even though he's a twat. But nobody else has. I had a couple of messages on Facebook from the odd Muslim and that about things that have gone on in Oldham, but I don't know who they are. I don't think they're running councillors or anything. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's a lot of fingers pointing at the council and the links to gangsters and crime and stuff like that. It's another big story. But we have to look at the root of all the problem. and it's a domination of Labour in this area that's caused our town to go down. It's not my fault, this. This has been going on for 30 years, and no one's done nothing about it. White people still vote Labour in, unfortunately. The majority of voters who vote Labour in Oldham are white, even though there is a big ethnic minority community that vote for Labour. It's predominantly white. So what are you doing to your town? Really, what are you doing to your town? Or don't you care because it doesn't affect you? Or something like that? Well, you should care. Oh, begging for votes. Oh, you mean like Arooj Shah? I mean, I'm not begging for votes. She can do what she wants. If she wants to go. If I go to a school, I won't be there asking people to vote for me. I'll be there telling the mothers what the sex education is for the kids coming up. Do they agree with it? Have they any issues and stuff like that? That's what Big John will be doing. But I won't be specifically stood outside a school begging for votes. But I'm not having a go at other people who are doing it. She's a leader of our council, so she should be out showing herself. But, you know, should she be out with a leaflet just slagging the Conservatives off? Or should she be taking a more direct role with everything? Big John, I'm in South Chadderton. I'm hanging up now. Been on for nearly an hour. I've had a good rant. Told you how it is. I'm outside Yew Tree School, Yew Tree Community School. Again, I know this school because my grandniece went to it. I spent 2 years of her life interacting with her at this school and off school. I taught her to swim as well as my other couple of youngest nephews, and I interacted with her on a really common sense level in a lot of things. I've done her homework with her and stuff like that. That's Big John. That's Big John. You might see a different picture sometimes. The left might show me as a big, nasty, horrible man and all that lot. Accuse me of being a smackhead and all that. But besides all that, this is what I do for our communities. Big John here. I'm in South Chadderton and I'm signing off. You've had an hour of me. Consider everything I've said. If you're from South Chadderton, really consider what I've said. Look into your council. Are they looking out for you? What's going to happen with this CAS tax thing when it comes? Is that going to affect your business? Is it going to affect your cars? Will you have to change your car? Will you have to get a new car? All this is coming in soon, and Oldham Council are going to be making money while we have to change cars. We'll lose our businesses and stuff like that. So think about voting differently, not voting Labour, go independent, look at other groups and stuff. Vote differently, and you'll find that in a few years' time, we'll start developing our town better. We'll start being more economically viable. We'll start attracting businesses up here, and we might be able to attract some. We might be able to get a bit more wealthy. In the years coming, I can look at lowering council taxes. Remember, we're one of the highest council taxes in the country. Why? Because we're poor, and that more people don't work here. More people are on benefits. There's a lot of reasons. Main one for me is immigration, and it will be for everyone else. And the kind of people we have coming here, and they don't care about where they live. They trash up the place. Trash up the place. It's looking nicer today here. Didn't know they had these big bins in the street here. But yeah, I'm here, South Chadderton. Please share to any Oldham groups if they'll let me in. They don't normally. If I share to Pride of Oldham and Saddleworth, most of the time they won't allow the post to go up, which is a bit thingy that. If it's about Oldham, I've put loads of stuff from other people about Oldham on my channel and on my Facebook, so people should just do the same. If you disagree with me, email me and challenge me to everything I've said. I could show you that. I could show you the facts that were highest council tax, biggest benefit thing. I can show you all these facts, and I have done already. They're all already on my YouTube and my Facebook. So you Labour hate me because I'm honest and I tell the truth, and I don't make things up. I tell the truth on what I've seen, what I've worked out, and what evidence I've got. And they absolutely hate me. And why? Another thing they hate me, because they're not going to be able to shut me up. Shut me up. I'm not going to be politically correct like everybody else and not say nothing. If I think they're being bad in the council, I'm going to tell them. I'm not going to vote their way. I'll tell them. And that's what we should be able to challenge our councils. But we can't in Oldham because it's dominated by Labour. 60 stinking councillors we have in this borough. And the reason we have a high lot of councillors is because we appease ethnic minority communities, unfortunately. That's why we have a high number of councillors. Some of our councillors got MBEs and all that, and they haven't done fuck all. They've just put their ward into poverty. Councillor Abdul Jabbar, MBE, and his ward is one of the poorest in the country. His coldest is one of the worst, misogynistic, politically correct, less people work on it places in the entire country, and he's got an MBE. What for doing that? Honestly, and shouldn't be allowed. Even other councillors, even the Conservatives, I think, are calling for a reduction in the councillor. No, it isn't. We want your votes. Oh yeah, we'll make you up to a councillor. Oh yeah, we'll give you an MBE. Yeah, lick, boom, boom, boom. Oh my God. Oh my Lord. Right, guys, I've got to go. Thank you very much. You've had 57 minutes and 50 seconds off me. They can't, Davis. They can't. Honestly, they can't. You can't have them on streets these days. You can't. This area here would have been full of kids in my area when I was young, playing football or whatever. In the summer, you'd have everyone side, but they don't. They all stay in the flats. And they don't let the kids out. They can't do it because kids get grabbed from side of the street. It's happened in Oldham. I know it's happened in other towns. It's happened in Oldham. But yeah, I'm hanging up. Thank you very much, guys. I've got to go. I'll catch up with you all soon.